Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another top 5 Total War video. The previous one was the top 5 hardest historical battles, and you guys left some comments as to what you think the next one should be. Now, the top rated comment was top 5 easiest factions in Total War, in the Total War franchise. However, I've already done a top 5 strongest factions, so I would feel like the two videos would be more or less the same. I would certainly be picking a lot of the same factions, and I certainly took faction difficulty into account when I made that previous video, so I won't be doing that one. I just don't see the point in making the same video twice, really. The next top rated comment was top 5 stupidest comments left on my videos, and I don't really want to do that because this series is supposed to be about Total War. I don't want to make it about my channel, so I'm just flat out not going to do that. And the third most top rated comment was top 5 most unhistorical factions in Total War's history. Now, that's something I'm going to do today. That's going to be the video. But I'm going to, little bit of disclaimer, it's something that is a little bit outside my scope of expertise. Now, I know a little bit about history, but I certainly wouldn't go around saying, ugh, I know everything about history in all time periods. It's just not true. So, I'm almost certain that people are going to disagree with my top 5 pick, but please understand, with the limited knowledge that I have done as much research as I'm willing to do for this video. I think the top 5 pick that I have are very unhistorical factions based on the criteria that I'm going to judge it on, which, based on that criteria, it is troops that are available, starting territory, and whether or not that faction should even exist in the game. So, and various other things which I'll go into when I talk about the top 5. So, I think this is a difficult one to do, so just bear with me, and I'm fully aware that I'm sure some of you guys will disagree, and if you do disagree, post what you think should have been in the top 5 most unhistorical factions in the comments, because I'd be very interested to read which factions you think are historically inaccurate. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on now to number 5, the 5th most unhistorical faction in a Total War game. Coming in at number 5 is the Mongols in Medieval 2. Now, the main reason that I'm calling these guys unhistorical is purely because of the religion that they follow. They come in, both in the Grand Campaign and the Teutonic Campaign, as following Islam, which is not historically accurate. The Mongols were followers of Tengri. They did eventually convert to Islam, most of them, but not until early the 14th century. However, this is not represented at all in the Teutonic Campaign, which it could have. Anyway, let's now move into number 4. Coming in at number 4 is Numidia in Rome Total War. This is a faction that simply shouldn't exist in this time period. The game starts at 270 BC, but technically Numidia, as a country, didn't exist until 202 BC. Its precursor factions would have been something along the lines of Mesacili or something along those lines, which is much better represented in Rome 2. In addition to that, it has way more territory than Numidia ever held at its peak, even at the start of its campaign, having territory at Siwa in Libya, so it's completely unhistorical. In addition to that, it has a unit in in its roster, which I think is pretty unhistorical. It actually has a Romanesque style legionary available to recruit, the Numidian legionaries. Now, I don't know if that's a bullshit unit, but it seems like bullshit to me. Anyway, let's now move into number 3. Coming in at number 3 is Russia for Medieval 2. Again, a faction that shouldn't exist in the time period that it starts in. In fact, Russia shouldn't exist within the entire scope of Medieval 2. The game starts at 1080 AD and is supposed to finish at 1530. And Russia wasn't formed until 1547. Now, all they had to do, in my opinion, was change the name from Russia to Novgorod. But apart from that, there's not too much else to it. It's mainly just, this faction just shouldn't exist in this game at all, really. It should just be called Novgorod, which in the Teutonic Campaign, it is called the Republic of Novgorod, but I guess they just wanted to put it in. I don't know why it's called Russia. They did it in Medieval 1 as well. I don't get it. Anyway, let's now move into number 2. Coming in at number 2, I'm classifying a couple of countries. In Medieval 2, I'm going to say it's the entirety of the Iberian Peninsula. It's just completely wrong in the 1080 start date for Medieval 2. For one thing, Portugal shouldn't exist. Portugal as a country wasn't formed until 39. It certainly didn't have Navarra at 1080 start. In addition to that, Spain should not be called Spain, because Spain wasn't formed until at least 1469 with the union of Castile and Aragon. It should be called the Kingdom of Castile or Kingdom of Leon. And the Moors should hold a lot more territory in Iberia and a lot less territory in Algeria, in my personal opinion. So they kind of fucked up the entirety of the Iberian Peninsula in this. Anyway, let's now move into the number 1 spot, which I'm pretty sure you guys can guess what it is. The most unhistorical faction in Total War's history is Egypt for Rome Total War. This is by far the most unhistorical, most bullshit faction in Total War's history. Now, it's not that Egypt didn't exist in this time period, but the problem here is that it's Bronze Age Egypt in the Iron Age. All of the units are Bronze Age units. The entire look and feel to Egypt in this campaign is Bronze Age Egypt. Now, this should actually be, which was actually better represented in Rome 2, a Hellenistic version of Egypt under the Ptolemaic dynasty. There's no presence of Hellenized units at all in Rome Total War. Now, that being said, even though these factions are unhistorically accurate, that doesn't make these games necessarily bad. Now, obviously, all of these picks were primarily for Rome 1 and Medieval 2. That's just because, due to limitations in those games, you just can't have loads and loads of factions like you can with the Warscape engine. So this video shouldn't be taken as an example of these games are bad because they're not historically accurate. I don't feel that at all. However, that doesn't mean that Creative Assembly haven't taken some serious liberties when it came to designing these factions. In my opinion, all 5 of these factions aren't historically accurate, but Egypt's got to take the top spot. I'd be very curious if you guys could come up with a less historically accurate faction than Egypt in Rome Total War in any of the other Total War games. I'd be very curious to know. Anyway, with that, we'll end the video, and I'll be keen to hear what you guys want for the next top 5. But please keep in mind that I want to keep it Total War related, so comments such as top 5 best merchant deals, top 5 best merchants, that kind of stuff, you guys are just being absurd. I will ignore that kind of stuff. Same with stuff that's to do with my channel specifically. I really don't want it to be about that. This is supposed to be about Total War. Anyway, apart from that, whatever you want, preferably something that I haven't already done before. Try to keep it something, let's try and keep it fresh. And we'll see how we go. Anyway, I'll catch you later, fuckers.